Boom, chakalaka. All right, we're going in three, two, one. All right, Culver Jones, y'all, coming at you with another episode in the CFBAD podcast. And a few hours ago, we just had some pretty big news from head coach Kyle Whittingham that Cameron Rising is doubtful ahead of their game at Rice Ecles tomorrow against the Gators. Huge news. You saw instantly. I remember I checked DraftKings today, and the line, I think it was at 8, and it went instantly down to 4.5. So that touchdown bubble is gone. You still can get it above a field goal. And what I'm going to be addressing today is how concerned should you be if you're a Utah fan, and are they going to lose the home streak? Here's what I'm going to say. They are going to lose one of the next two games, all right? Utah, over the past few years, has really struggled in the beginning of the season. Obviously, last year they lost to the Gators. And then if you go to the year before that, they had losses to San Diego State and BYU. So 2 seasons in a row, they've lost games early on in the year to lesser teams, but still quality opponents. And is that going to happen to the Gators? Because they're hosting an SEC team, which they don't really get to do that much. My answer right now is I'm not super confident, but I still think the Utes are going to beat the Gators at home. I still think so. However, I think that they're screwed next week. I think they could maybe sneak by without Rising, but Rising's first game back coming off that ACL, and they're traveling to Waco, it's going to be a whole different story. So I think Utah fans could be very nervous about the game, but the fans are going to show up, and it's still a tough destination, and that altitude is still going to hit them, and they're still going to get gassed. So I think they should eke by the Gators. I also think that Anthony Richardson is not on the team. It's Graham Mertz. And will Graham Mertz and ETN and the Florida Gators be able to get something going against the Utah defense that seems pretty damn healthy to me? I don't think so. I still think the Utes are safe. I say they sneak by a touchdown. That's what I'm saying. And people kind of forget, and everyone's like, phew, we escaped. Next week, we're going to be great. Rising's back, and we're going to go to Baylor and win. And as the great LC would say, not so fast, all right? That's my prediction for the Utah Utes non-conference. I think that this news is actually worse for week 2 than it is for week 1. And I think that Baylor is a team with a quality quarterback, quality offense, and a very good coach and a very good defense that you can't really slip up. And if it is Rising's first game back, he's still going to be testing that ankle. And we don't know about Keithy either. I think that this Johnson kid could be actually pretty good. We'll see. He's supposed to be a talented runner. And we've seen Barnes play, and he's a somewhat capable backup, I'd say. I mean, he threw a touchdown in the Rose Bowl in kind of a very key moment, right? So there's something to be said for that. And he's played in 2 Rose Bowls, and he played against the Oregon Ducks. So he's played against Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon. So he's played against 3 teams that are better than the Gators. And I don't think any of those games are at home. So I really think Bryson Barnes can get the job done. So for me, that's not that big of a deal. The biggest deal is I think Rising needed this game to kind of have a test run on that, to have a test run on his leg. And if I were a Utah fan, I would say next week I would be more concerned for. But obviously, if you're a Utah fan, you're going to be nervous as hell, right? Because you don't have your quarterback and you're playing on a Thursday against an SEC team. I will say this, Rising or no Rising, Keithy or no Keithy, if the Utah Utes lose to the Florida Gators 2 years in a row, it will be a heartbreaking defeat. More heartbreaking than if they were to lose to Baylor on the road. They need to win still. They still need to beat the Gators. I don't care if they don't have their quarterback. There's still no excuses, okay? So if you're a Utah fan and you're trying to excuse this loss, even without Rising, unless Florida turns out to be an 8-win team, which I highly, highly doubt. Their over/under is only 5.5. So if unless Florida somehow shocks me and becomes a very quality team in the SEC East, no excuses for Utah to lose. Still, they should have the better defense. They have home field advantage, and I really don't think Mertz is that much better than Barnes, or Johnson could be a stud. He was, one of their biggest recruits that they've had at that position. So yeah, if I'm the Ute fan, I'm pressing the panic button, but I'm not pressing the week 1 panic button like this far down. I'm just going boom. Week 2, I'm taking the Baylors as a bet for sure. Definitely with the spread, maybe the money line too. If Baylor's underdogs, I bet it would be only by 3, maybe 5 or something like that. But if I could get Baylor above a field goal, I'm taking that spread against Utah because Rising, he's coming off an injury, man. Didn't have a full off season. He definitely knows the offense well, no questions about that. But he's got to be able to test out the ankle. And, there's something to be said about Russ. There is no preseason in college football, and he has not been healthy for any of the spring games. And, yeah, he has been helping the other guys. He's been there. He knows the offense. He knows exactly, and he's a very capable quarterback. But, if they were playing Weber and then Baylor, that would be a different story. But Florida followed by Baylor, I just highly doubt that they're going to get through those 2 games unscathed. So that's my take. And if Utah goes out 2-0, then I'll be wrong, And if they go 0-2, I'll also be wrong. Because if they do lose to Florida, I think that Rising will come back and maybe the narrative will change, and they'll see Baylor as a must-win. But I still don't think that the Utah Utes will lose without their leader against the Florida Gators at home. So, yeah, super excited for tomorrow. And, yeah, we'll see how the Utes could do. All right. Much love, y'all. Peace.